Okay, so here on the 4th of July edition of Raw, which of course was shot last week. So I'll go through the matches first, and then we'll go talk about some of the promos as well as what CM Punk said in Australia. So when we were watching it, we got towards the end promo. I had to my buddy, and I was like, who won that Divas tag match between Kelly, Eve, and the Bella Twins? And he was like, I think Kelly and Eve did. Okay. Do you recall how? And we had this real moment where we're like, we both watched the match, but we have so little recollection of exactly what happened, except for Eve's weird drop it like it's hot moonsault and all of the weird, pop and lock sort of moves. Which is sad because that's the Divas champion, a former champion, and a former champion all in the ring, and none of it seemed to resonate at all. At all. Just at all. The match with Kozlov and Santino versus Nexus. I'm really trying to figure out what's going to happen with Nexus in 2 weeks. With CM Punk leaving, Mason Ryan got injured. It's now down to Atunga and McGillicuddy to try to do something. And how come Atunga doesn't have a match at Money in the Bank? He's from Chicago. Why not have the tag belts defended at a pay-per-view? I know it's a novel concept, just want to throw that out there. And then Sergeant Slaughter had a match against the All-American Jack Swagger to see who could lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Normally, when you see Sergeant Slaughter in his gear on the 4th of July, you picture he's going to win. Now Swagger beat him with the Swagger Bomb. That's what they call it. And then Evan Bourne came down and punked out Swagger again, which then led to Sergeant Slaughter leading the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. They had a number one contendership match between Del Rio, R-Truth, and Mysterio. And I have a Firefly in my room. Huh. Thank you for flashing your butt at me. Okay. Now the weird thing was those three guys were also in the Money in the Bank ladder match for Raw. And a fairly solid match. That's really becoming aggravating. Yes, I see you. Yes, now you're on the ground. Quit flying around. So, decent back and forth. They seem to be getting pretty good at these triple threat sort of matches, where you have spot one guy down, other people get involved. I really liked the ending though, with watching, you've got R-Truth down, Ray does the dead fish splash, and then as he goes to flip over to hook the leg, that is then when Del Rio steps on the cross arm breaker, gets a victory. Good stuff, really good stuff. And then the match between Miz and Alex Riley, I'll be really, really honest. Having Alex Riley always get the upper hand like the last minute and beating the Miz is fantastic. Initially, I'd have looked at the other way. I'd have had Alex Riley always beaten out and then the Miz, healing a victory every now and then. But having Alex Riley just for some reason just seemed to own the Miz. And then the Miz snapping on him was just fantastic. Now we have to go to the bulk of the night, which of course was the promos. The initial promo was CM Punk is suspended, he's lost a no contendership match, and he'll be finishing his contract, not doing anything. Of course, they later kind of redacted that a little bit. He will still do live events, which will lead to the Australian thing, towards the end of this. So, John Cena had an initial really solid promo, talking about, he said something, I don't agree with them, however, he should have the right to say them. And then he says he's going to call out Vince. So your main event, of course, is now Vince and John Cena. This has been some of Cena's probably best promo work since he went against, he didn't go against The Rock, since he promoted The Rock. Then McMahon comes out at the end and kind of goes, I didn't like what he said, so I suspended him. So back here with him and John Cena. Their match is on. And the reason why it got called was because McMahon's like, you know what? I don't think you can beat Punk. I've had this happen in the past before, where someone was going to leave with the title, and I don't want to be embarrassed like that. I don't. You do not embarrass this man. Period. Which was good. You know, it was nice. It was solid. It felt genuine. It felt real. And it was weird seeing John Cena in this whole kind of, you know, I work for you. I get that it's your company. That's fine and all, but I thought that if I were to work hard and do things, that you would at least respect my opinion, at least let me hear me out on some things, and not take all my hard work and make it meaningless by having the person who deserves a title shot not get a title shot because you think I can't beat them. You know, and it was good, and it's a different take on the Austin McMahon sort of thing where they directly fought. This one kind of has more of that, you know, I'm the rich guy, what I say goes, my thoughts are just better than yours, my viewpoint's better than yours because I'm rich, therefore I deserve the ability to make choices that affect the lives of everyone else. And I get to do it entirely haphazardly because I'm rich, this is my company, I'm going to do what I want, and you're just going to live with it. You know, a very different viewpoint. You better stay down, Firefly. Okay, you can crawl, just don't fly around. I'll carry you out of the house, just don't fly. And it was really good. So now their match at Money in the Bank is going to be still for the title, but if CM Punk leaves Chicago with the title, John Cena's fired. Key word there is leaves Chicago with the title. So therefore, CM Punk could beat John Cena and then face the Money in the Bank winner. And since whoever's Money in the Bank tends to win the championship, one would stand a reason to think that, you know, that could easily happen at Money in the Bank. Which now is on pay-per-view that I'm actually tempted to really, as opposed to going like Buffalo Wild Wings or something like that, to actually maybe get it here at my house and actually watch it, as opposed to going someplace else that's going to get it and then have food while watching the pay-per-view. Okay, now on to the CM Punk homophobic slur that he said in Australia. If you ever jaw-jacked with a heel before, I know I have at a house show and at a live show. You really can't hear what the guy is saying to Punk, but Punk, you know, says the guy's got a faux hawk, he's kind of making fun of the guy, says, yeah, I want you to come over the apron. Why don't you come into the ring, so I can twist you like a pretzel, you homo. And that's, you know, that's essentially what he said. He said, you homo. And there's this huge, like, people are, you know, TMZ got a hold of it, they try to get a hold of Glad. And of all the things, it was somebody at a live event who was arguing with a fan who then says 2 words, you homo. There are a lot more horrible things you can say to somebody than that could be a homosexual slur. Of course, they contacted the WWE. WWE is like, you know, we're going to look into it. It's, you know, that's not the image we have. It's not what we condone. We're very much anti-bullying, all those sorts of things, which is good. That's what the company's about. And I'm actually going to read what CM Punk actually put on his Twitter account. So I'm going to read CM Punk. I'm glad TMZ posted that video because everybody needs to be held accountable for their bull. ... You know, me included. What I said was bull. ... I'm embarrassed. I own up to being a total douche in this situation. I offer sincere apology to anybody I hurt with my careless words. And, you know, at the end of the day, if you say something in, you know, a heated back and forth, and if you just say that one thing, it's not like going on, you know, like a gay tirade or anything, or, you know, a racial slur tirade. He didn't Mel Gibson. He just kind of, you know, at the heat of the moment, called somebody a homo. You know, everyone makes mistakes. He fessed up to it. He said, you know what, I was a douche. Everyone's a douche. I was a douche. I called on being a douche. I apologize for being a douche.